Play this song for anybody who hates your energy. Tell they monkey to breathe. Tell them to breathe. Theme song for this the theme song for anybody who just hates your energy. You must be thinking I'm blind. Look into your eyes, I can tell you ain't fine. Baby, keep breathing, yeah. You need oxygen to hate. Yeah, alright now, alright. Yeah, but see, I be doing things one deep. We supposed to be a team on the same side, why you wanna compete? Yeah, I fly where the sun beat. An animal like a down, deep. I do magic like Quan Chi. This rubber came to be because of me. Uriel created the building blocks. Came down to this earth, asking all you humans, are you trying to build or not? Talking about this whole world, I ain't speaking small. You can go and fill with rocks. I be somewhere on the hilltop, making deals pop. Bitch, we setting up real shop. I've been living the whole time. Now that's what got me on a mission with no mind. Still I carry a 4-5. The shit'll be on me as tight as a bow tie. Hit a target like bow tie. Get a toe tag, it's a tackle your toe tie. Damn, you been in the streets this long and you still ain't got no grind. Yeah, your whole life going round and round and round. I ain't hear that sound when you pout and around. We used to get so loud when I touched down in your town. Girl, I'ma tell you now, you got me down and just out. You ain't never got time. Girl, can you just come tell me what's on your mind? You gotta leave it, yeah. That I got time. No, I ain't see the signs. It's the last time, girl, you done crossed the line. Wish I could've seen it, yeah. Alright now, you must be thinking I'm blind. Look into your eyes, I can tell you ain't fine. Breathing, yeah. I can't leave it alone. Me and you together, what we coming up with these names for? Me and you together, gonna change the weather and brainstorm. All we do is show up and we gave them reasons to hate more. But we should stay on the grind even if we don't got a skateboard, yeah. Your heart don't gotta be. You must be dead inside, girl. It's so hard to see. I got Alzheimer's, I'm forgetful. Yeah, you know we are that girl. We going into a godly world. You keep running your mouth, I put you up for auction, girl. And you ain't gotta pick and choose, cause you ain't got no options, girl. Yeah, it's a mix and a match you can't let go. Cause you keep going back like a retro, yeah. You so salty like fries get fresh though. All I do is cook up this game and I'm about to chef ho. It's my talent in my bento. Then the government that's punishing. Girl, if you don't answer your phone when I see you, you gon' be on punishment. You ain't never got time. Girl, can you just come tell me what's on your mind? But you gotta leave it, yeah. No, I ain't see the signs. It's the last time, girl, you done crossed the line. Wish I could've seen it, yeah. Alright now, you must be thinking I'm blind. Look into your eyes, I can tell you ain't fine. Breathing, yeah. I can't leave it alone. Yeah, it's all about you. It's all about you. It's all about you. You ain't never got time. Girl, can you just come tell me what's on your mind? But you gotta leave it, yeah. No, I ain't see the signs. It's the last time, girl, you done crossed the line. Wish I could've seen it, yeah. Alright now, you must be thinking I'm blind. Look into your eyes, I can tell you ain't fine. Breathing, yeah. I can't leave it alone. I'm saying.
Got to tell them haters keep breathing. Thank God you got another day to breathe. You know what I'm saying? Thank God you got another day to breathe. Breathe. One to the duh, two to the duh, two to the duh, two to the breathe. Da, 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 da. And I know about just Blaze. Oh, breathe. Now let's check this out. Aquarius, all puns attended, all puns not attended, whatever. Air, all over, air, fix air. So we dealing with the new moon in Aquarius. So for the most part, what that actually means, shout out to all my Aquariuses out there. First and foremost, we're going to break that energy down. And on my Patreon, we're going to break down all the specific signs, Aries through Pisces and your monkey faces, Aquariuses, to know what to deal with during this particular time. But for the most part, here's the thing. It's going to be a change of direction, a change of goals, because these are things you are associated with. Remind you, we're not just talking about people and places and things, but we're also talking about what you create internally, which is characteristics, beastly animal natures and stuff, which could play out as forms of people, all the way down to your grandma, y'all monkey crackhead and aunties and stuff. But for the most part, anything that you create in your mind that you attach yourself to is a form of an association. So these are things that you also may experience developing or feeling separate and distant from previous circumstances of that accumulation of the same energy that right now is playing out as an esoteric cloth or sheltering or something you could fall on your back on spiritually that play out into a 1, 2, and 3rd dimension as maybe a person, place, or thing, or a circumstance or situation you have associated yourself with, because it upholds your life to a certain degree. So for the most part, it's going to be in those qualities, but it's not always just dealing with people. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's dealing with just the mind state, wherever you're associated with. And that can play out as distance, or it can play out as the time that you are accumulating those things. So it could cultivate and become something as we springboard into spring after the 30 days of Pisces season. But for the most part, just experiencing a new moon and being in Aquarius, there's going to be a new way of seeing and feeling about some fixated energy. So the things when it comes into the fixated signs, when it comes into Leo, Scorpio, Taurus, and Aquarius, these are the times, anytime we are experiencing a full moon or new moon, more harsh than other times of that nature. And we practice things on ourselves without meaning to, due to the fact that we have negative intent and we push these things outwardly. So for the most part, those are be things that we are fixating ourselves into. Anytime you root yourself into a decision making quality, right? Especially when you're amongst others, that just add more emphasis to the energy. And whatever that you're fixated in is something that you're trying to uphold. So anytime we're going through a full moon, especially in Taurus or Scorpio, but anytime we're going through a full moon, because the moon is exalted in Taurus, but it falls in Scorpio during those times of when we see the sun there and when we see the moon there, right? Anything that we make a decision in or decision on that we root ourselves in, but let's say if it got alternative motives with it, let's say if it's negative, let's say if it's for self-serving purposes or however the case may be, then that structure will be looked at and it would cause a tower moment during a full moon, or will have to be changed and adjusted during a new moon to a certain degree during the fixated signs, because the fixated signs represent anchoring. We wouldn't even have no mentality of holding on to a thought and wanting us to see it through other weeks and days and months and things of that nature, being able to harvest it without an energy that's broader than us, giving that essence off first. So when we get cardinal, fixated, mutable, these energies go beyond human, they go beyond animals or whatever. So you can only play something after the fact, before y'all get lost in pseudo or what's God or whatever the case may be. Just like your mind and your physical play out as patterns for you to develop an organ system for your heart to have a beat, for you supposed to have a pulse, or whatever the case may be, right? So when we talk about fixated energies, all the way down to a rock that was here before a baby that was born, that is a form of fixated quality, and that is a form of it being transformed as the seasons shift, and that's a form of a change. So when we're going through a full moon or a new moon and a fixated sign that brings those essence in general, I don't care whatever you're doing, all the way to your thought is smaller than the big old world and atmosphere you're in. So any form of fixated thought you're in going to be challenged when we're going through a fixated time in the world for all of us. So if you want to look at it as pseudo, or no, this may not be, or whatever the case may be, why you think businesses don't last forever, regardless of the children uphold it, civilization, circumstances, whatever, because ain't nothing constant but change. But if you understand the small mechanisms and things of that nature and the procedure, this keep you ahead of the game. Or you ain't really spiritual like that. You're just someone who want to sit around and hate and come up with your faulty way of looking at a book and doing whatever justify you to feel comfortable or whatever you're a part of, if it's a cult or a gang or whatever. But other than that, that's as far as it go. Ain't got nothing to do with real life. And you probably saying what I'm saying ain't got nothing to do with real life. But you experiencing everything I'm saying in your real life. You know what I'm saying? You're just detaching from the comprehension side of it, to being sensitive to the senses side of it, to say you one thing in one area, but you don't know how to play those out in another area type of quality. Yeah, I'm spiritual over here, but it just look like you some religious fashion and you ain't really tapped in like that. You know what I'm saying? Or you wouldn't have no negative ill intent or no extreme natures, even if you that type of person. Because you don't even have to always throw that type of energy off on another individual. You could be the same type of person in that same space, in that same world, just at a different angle. You allow external people to affect you too much, or external circumstances or situations to affect you. So it's the same kind of energy as someone putting that ill intent on other individuals, especially strangers. You put yourself in the same position where you just allow strangers who ain't even affecting you, but whatever their mannerisms is or whatever the case may be affect you. And here are you becoming a person that's frustrated in your own circumstance and situation where you don't actually have to. So you're just someone who's walking around with a plunger up their butt all day. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want to be in those type of situations, especially going through right now, because whatever you are associated with, even if it's like a safe haven thought, especially if it's an ill intent one, it will be broken down like gravel. So it'll be like a mountaintop or a volcano or rock, whatever that's big like a mountain, but it'll get broken down in tower moments due to the fact that this is what we're building inside of ourselves stably first. So when you hear things like God can move mountains or however, you got to think about it through the formation of words and the energy spectrums that we create for us to even experience it externally to be the actual physical thing. So for the most part, is you walking on water or not? And walking on water could just means you coming up with an idea, a higher spaceship to fly over the one that just sinked, aka one that collapsed because you put too much gas and emotion in it. So for the most part, when you create a thought to get you out of a negative or a whole bunch of other thoughts that just got you emotionally drained in some way, shape, or form, that's you walking on water, because all we talking about is the holy Jesus Christ water anyway. You know what I'm saying? It ain't really Jesus Christ, but that'd be the allegory to break it down from that aspect when you're looking at it from a spiritual nature. Therefore, you understand that's what you're doing anyway. Anytime you express your testimony or you're going through something or you're experiencing whatever you want to so-called spirituality, even if it's inferred through the terms of religious terminology and things of that nature. But for the most part, when we think about the moon is going to be in the same position as the sun. So the moon represents our emotional state and how we react and respond to things. Now, for the most part, not just your emotions based on your biases and what you got going on throughout the day, but for the most part, how these things may play out in the senses of the vibe of it. So when it comes into Aquarius, you may have this little distance, but you also want to have this little newness of what you want to be associated with. And you may change goals, and you may change the way you see things, and you may have your own new way of having a fixated thought or way of communicating due to the fact of you might have already had a stubborn thought or way of communicating, and you went through enough situations for that mountain or that big brick to be broken down as gravel, and now you have to take what pieces could be worked to be built on another platform, and what kind of gravel there that's no longer useful because it's just shattered. You know what I'm saying? So ain't no point in trying to pick up pieces that no longer could work. So you're going to be looking at that when it comes through the lens of your associations, how you conduct yourself in the public arena, and how you are seen. And you may start to justify the things you are attaching yourself to justify, do you want to be seen in that light? Because everybody know that characteristics and reasonings is being looked at before anything else. So as the new moon going into Aquarius, people might start to change up their associations, change what they are associated with, change their direction of how they're going about things, and try to separate from being in the energy of being guilty by association. So that's going to be a big emphasis right now. Individuals not wanting to be guilty by association. So as the sun be the energy that the moon is in, it's making all of us react and respond to want to be sociable, but want to communicate, but also outright expose or outright show what's on our mind, or show what we've been having our fixated thought on or communicating. So a lot of times, if you have any picked up energy, that may come out a little derogatory towards family, friends, associates, or coworkers due to the fact of how you probably been seeing something need to be done, or something been need to be rectified, or however the case may be, and you just been allowing it to go over or however, and now you had the words for it, but now you got this extra gas behind the words. So this extra gas behind the words may make the words come out a little bit more harshly, or maybe use other terms that's derogatory other than terms that could be utilized and stuff like that. So there may be a stubborn way of thinking about how to go about a situation when it comes to your associations and what you are associated with, when it comes to your business, when it comes to whether you're organizing, whether it comes to your family, or whether it comes to how you get your 1-2 at your jobs and things of that nature. But at the same time, it's going to be a whole new moon. So you're going to be experiencing some weirdness when it comes to an energy that you jump in that represent familiarity. So just look at it like that, because a lot of people don't know how to look at these things simple. Think about things you commonly like to run to. It could be anything. Let's make it make sense. A lot of y'all are so lost into the physical life, it will have to play out like a physical attribute that you already doing. So let's say you have already put this energy from a spiritual perspective in your mind into one of your favorite songs, or one of your favorite movies, or one of your favorite foods, or something like that. The moment you start to feel that song ain't hitting the way it was hitting last week, or that food ain't hitting, and you decide to want another food, or whatever the case may be, that's when you know you're experiencing some type of disconnection, or however the case, to whatever that you're doing. And that's going to play out in a lot of other pockets to show you where that actually needs to be dealt with, and in other areas that will lead you more comfortable and stuff like that. But it's just showing you that it's a change. It's a whole switch up of what you are associated with to a certain degree. So before a person think what they're emotionally attached to, or whatever the case, it be the vibe of it. So it's when you start to feel that it ain't hit the way it hit last week, or that food ain't hit the way it hit last week, or that conversation ain't hit the way it hit last week. And a lot of y'all be in that energy too, because especially if you like a content creator, you might be a content creator that got a rooted way of what you make your content on, or whatever, and you might lack with the develop, because you're going to be in a stubborn energy other than a consistent energy. This consistency going to start to look like stubbornness. What was good last week may look like it's something you need to change right now. And due to the fact of your creativity percentage scale, right, is going to lead you into like a creator's block, or if you a musician, a writer's block, or you any type of creator, or any type of aspect, you may put yourself into a feeling of feeling like you need to take a break for a couple of days, or however the case may be, or feel slightly detached from these things, because it's a new moon in Aquarius, and these things is wanting us to do these things in the right way, and make sure we are associated with the right people, places, and things before we go about going into Pisces, going into Aries, where it's more of our independence and stuff like that. And also when we talk about Gemini, things to communicate, Cancers, things to ground and feel emotionally connected to, Leo, actually being able to express it so it could be the cause or the effect, Virgo, actually be something to analyze to see if it needs to be readjusted, constructed, or perfected, Libra, it actually being able to be related again and balanced, Scorpio, it going into the depth to see if it's going to lead into grudge or excitement, Sagittarius, having the wisdom of that to see what it comes to be, to see if it's light enough for others, or is it something self-centered, Capricorn, something that could be substantiated enough that it could be built upon now. And then that takes us back to an Aquarius. Now you have to pick your associates. Now you have to pick how you conduct yourself in a public arena. And it's always going to be that cycle when it comes into the moon. But a lot of times when people don't understand how to go about life in that way, I'm not saying go about life in astrology or whatever, but I'm just saying going in order with things. Even if you're not talking about it as it, because you don't want to align it based on the positions of where they at, it's still gonna, you're still gonna see a new moon, you still gonna see a full moon, so you still gonna see the moon being in the positions that the sun be in when we be having those whole seasons and things of that nature, just as a lead up. So regardless of you keep track of it or not, you're still going to be experiencing the happening. So when it comes into a new moon, that's going to be a new. Now you might be like, well, how that deals with the emotions, how that deal with things, or whatever that case may be. All right, where your emotions come from? Now I'm not saying the emotions come specifically for the moon or whatever, but I look at that like just as well as asking that question. Now we can decipher specific situations. Oh, well, when you get emotions from going through things or whatever the case, okay, you're going through things beyond going through things with your own little small bias about what you think you went through with another human or whatever the case may be. You see what I'm saying? Where you go through things all day when you ain't around another human, and you start to feel that impression and that expression and something pulling on your emotional tide and stuff like that. So, I mean, it ain't for me to sit here and criticize how far you're willing to go into depth of that thought process and what else that's connected to or whatever. I'm just here to give little my piece of what I feel like it's connected to, and beyond that, and be able to break it down more in your aspect of what you think is connected to. So for the most part, it's just each one teach one. It ain't really no perspective of putting people in a position of always wanting to challenge when people got healthy common sense to bring to the manuscript. And then a lot of people just take it and then want to look at it through the lens of if it's real or not, and to the case not actually looking at your actual life to see what's really real. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can have an object there. Yeah, you can have a badge there, but it's the person that's giving you the reciprocation. Is that real? You know what I'm saying? How you feel about the object. Is that real? You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all got certain degrees you don't necessarily feel connected to. A lot of y'all are in relationships right now. You don't necessarily feel it ain't all about I feel. But for the most part, that's just part of the testimony to know when you ain't in a situation that's truly for you, or however the case. And you can go ahead and be Jimmy Jazz all you want, you know what I'm saying? And fake the funk all you want. But at the same time, you know it's real. And you know if you don't play that energy out early, it's going to lead into a catastrophic moment. It's going to lead into a tower moment. It's going to lead into a bridge burning moment. Extreme animosity amongst relationships that it doesn't necessarily have to. You know you didn't want to marry that person before y'all got married. Why allow it to go 5 years for y'all to go ahead and do that extreme breakup? You know you didn't want that job the first 2 weeks you was working there. Why allow the person that's bothering you on that job to go that far, and then now you got to have some type of thing on your recommendations that got to be carried through anytime you try to go get another job or whatever the case may be, about you doing some extreme stuff because of another individual. So for the most part, you just have to know how to brace your own self. But when it comes into the new moon being in Aquarius, right, this is fixed air, being fixated on our own way of thinking and communicating. So whatever stubbornness you've been in, that's going to switch up. But if you've been into some consistency, that's going to expand. That's going to be like you're going to have some refreshing energy towards it. Like whatever that you've been doing, especially if you've been living in order, or however the case. So you're already around the right people. You're already in the right places. You're already doing the right thing. So it's already substantiated, and you already been riding that little flight. So for the most part, even when the moon was in Capricorn, you was aware of these things. You was knowing what you was trying to build, and you was knowing what was necessary, and you was tearing down anything yourself. Now, if a person trying to uphold something that needs to be torn down, then they're not taking charge themselves. Almost like the Pluto energy, right? Things don't have to be as harsh, but because you allow it to lead that far. If you go ahead and practice the little scary thing ahead of time, then for the most part, it don't even have to actually be scary, and you'll start to realize you're just nipping something in the butt, and it wasn't as scary as it actually is, aka that Pluto energy. You take power and control and transform the situation. Don't allow the external circumstance to take power and control over you and things of that nature, and transform your situation. So when you do the transforming, you do the little power and control. For the most part, the little negative energy will be so small, you will have grace, and it'll be justified. Anytime you allow it, it'll be like things that was happening that you wasn't supposed to allow, that wasn't even in the frame of thought of how humans are interacting in the social norms nowadays, that you'll still be doing wrong in God's eye. Or just in the spiritual realm of how we supposed to utilize our mind. It ain't what we do, it's how we do it. And how you think is supposed to be the goal. But for the individuals down here, it's all about the what and what they think about. So they just come up with another what, another form of a hell. That's the easiest aspect of understanding how to go to hell. But for the most part, it's about the how, not the what. So what you doing is thinking, but y'all be doing it for the wrong reasons and stuff like that. So when it comes into the how, y'all be losing the how. And then when you get into the what, let's say you get into science, well, the what is I want to study the mind or whatever the case may be. You'll never find the how at that point. You know what I'm saying? You'll just be somewhere still trying to discuss the what and what this is and just give another word to it. And you will still be authoring from a perspective of lack of know-how. You know what I'm saying? So this is what people got to learn how to develop in today's time. So you can start to be aware of what you are associated with, so you can reap the most maximum benefits out of it or whatever, or see things from a mile away. So when it comes into it just being a new moon, and it's going to look like the sun, that's why it play out that way. The moon is the world that we are in. The sun is how it looks and how we go out about it, or how it appears to be. So we know that we in the middle of wintertime. But for the most part, the world that we are in is the sentiment of it, right? Your associations, your fixated way of thinking and communicating and stuff. So that's what you're going to see outwardly. And when you see it outwardly, what is the only thing that's constant? Change. As the sun start to transition and we start to go into Pisces. So these are things that you've been holding in, that you have no force. I mean, you have no choice but to put it out, because it's your mind, it's your light, right? And it's going to be in the light, and it's forced to change. So if it's a stubborn thought and it ain't a consistent one, then for the most part, it will be broken down like gravel, because we have already built past Solomon, past Capricorn. See what I'm saying? So you're supposed to already be associated with the right founding or right founding and foundation and grounding. That's what I'm going to say, grounding and foundation of what you actually doing. So a lot of times people be all over the place, especially if you like a content creator right now. Let's say you ain't got your 1-2 together, like you ain't got what you is and your character or however for you can start presenting it. But for the most part, whatever that you jump into as far as the algorithm, you got something to fall back on because it's still you and your character or whatever and your voice. Now, ooh, shit, pardon me, y'all. You might be in a situation where you might have fogginess during this particular time because you're trying to find something to connect to before doing the things that you think you connected with. That's the what. It's the how something's done. And I'm just making it be simple for you because there's a lot of content creators out there that's still trying to find their way, but don't understand things are simple first, then go deep. And that little limbo space that you're going to be in is just you're trying to find another what. What happened today? What other celebrity did this? What other did that or whatever? And ain't nothing wrong with that. But once you get the how together, this how you do it, it could be a time you don't even have to find the what to jump into the algorithm or even care about being in the algorithm because you care more about presenting how you do stuff. You know what I'm saying? Y'all basically can use my channel as an example when it comes to everything. Astrology, business, entertainment, education, religion, and politics. It's how I do it. So a lot of times I don't even care to get into the what's and the specifics of these things when it comes into the worldly versions of business, entertainment, education, religion, and politics. I'm too busy politicking on my own creativity and people. I'm too busy trying to conduct my own business and responsibilities. I'm too busy trying to construct my own spirituality and religion, if you want to call it that. I'm too busy trying to construct my own creativity and entertainment. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, when you look at it in that attribute, once you build your own goal, then you may have enough juice to even jump into those type of attributes when it comes to the other versions of it, the external. But you have to get that together first. And if that ain't right, then you're lost into the what. And then when it comes into the how, you're not going to be knowing that's what you're supposed to do. And then you're going to be all over the place until you find another what. And then depending on the things you do all the way until you find another what, it's like a monkey swinging from one monkey tree to another one. You may create a whole bunch of damage energies that you got to end up playing damage control because everything that you did and all the crash out energy or the energies you was doing to try to find it may have put you in a situation where once you do find gold or find a tree that works for you with fruit on it, right, you may can't fully use it to the full potential of it, the full access of it, because everything that you didn't put on your name, all the stain, all the crashing out, all you thought you were supposed to do this and do that and virtue signal or hate on this person and stuff like that. And then for the most part, then you find your little sweet spot that look like it, but now you got a whole bunch of stain before you can fully hang on that tree as a monkey. You know what I'm saying? In the spiritual world. So a lot of times, you know, this type of knowledge will help y'all prevent yourselves from getting in these situations of, if I'm wrong, I don't want to be right until you actually wrong. And then when you want to be right, it come with a double challenge. You forced to have to change because this is the situation and the age we're in at the moment, but you not wanting all to get feedback from it and stuff like that, like, hey, wasn't you just that a week ago though? But wasn't you just this a week ago? But I could have swore you that was your favorite team last week or whatever. You know what I'm saying? All those type of energies and stuff that you don't want to deal with. And all the deleting videos and stuff like that if you're a content creator. But do know, let's say if you any business, entertainment, education, religion, and politics, whatever that you do, right, or your own versions of these things, right, if you have negative intent, you're going to run into a writer's block or a creator's block because it's a new moon in Aquarius. So whatever you fixated on, if it's on a negative side of energy, like negative intent, is going to freeze because something has to change, right? And if you're stuck in that, you're going to be stuck in something that actually has to change. So your alternative motive may not work, or your intentions may not work, or your business savage and skills to destroy Burger King because you at McDonald's or something like that may not work, or however the case. So try not to even play out in those energies anyway. I know in business or the American world, I know that's what y'all like to do a lot, especially when it comes to trolls and the comments and stuff. You can tell that's all American college crafted and stuff like that. So I know a large amount of people with no culture like to participate in that type of stuff, but at the same time, even that is not going to be, you may not feel fruitful at this time doing that because it's not something to be actually associated with. It's not something to be fulfilled. So everybody trying to find fulfillment when it comes to the new moon. But if you're on the positive side of energy, you already fulfilled and you already been on the lead up. So you're going to have this new expression, this new way of seeing your associations, your goals, which you already been attacking, and things of that nature. And it's going to be seen as more consistent because that's how the fixed energies play out. We always going to be fixated on something, but it's either going to be stubborn or consistent. So a lot of times you lead into doing the same thing over and over again, that lead into insanity, and people even try to steer you into a better way of doing it, but it leads you into a bus station or whatever the case may be. That's stubborn. But you could be doing the same thing that actually getting positive results, or however the case may be. And if you're not upholding it, it could actually lead to a negative scenario. That's actually being consistent, right? So that's how you understand that you are expanding within a cycle, not contracting within a cycle as a spirit. So we are doing the same thing within our space, but you could be expanding as a spirit, becoming an adult, or you could be shriveling up as a spirit, aka becoming more childlike, that you need more 3D, third dimension, external, and other people assistance for whatever that you're trying to manifest or materialize, or however the case may be, especially if it's ill intent. You know what I'm saying? That take a bunch of group of people that's already spiritually in hell, because that's how cults and stuff is created. Spirits that have to deal with something on their own in hell because they did too much with others alive. So the thing that they're trying to search for, if they have grace, they do it again when they're alive, and things of that nature gather up in packs and groups. Where it's supposed to be each strong individual that make groups. That make groups, not a bunch of weak individuals that need each other to actually do something that ultimately don't make no sense at the end of the day. Because everybody needing validation where they couldn't get it. Everybody needs some form of creativity where they couldn't get it. Everybody needs some attention where they couldn't get it. And a lot of times these be people that be detached from their families, or something have happened to them early in their life, so they already in some type of justification, train of thought, and line of reasoning that it's okay to hurt other individuals and strangers and things of that nature. Because they come up with stuff in their mind like, well, a stranger did this to me, or they come up with, well, or they come up with something like, well, this is what I'm a part of. You know what I'm saying? But it's some degenerate stuff. The person have to know that they're degenerate in general, or however the case may be. So that's what God sees. It doesn't see what we're creating on earth as far as social norms and stuff like that. Because if that's the case, humans would just exist. It wouldn't be no animals and other creatures like humans and stuff like that got to relate to and stuff. So at times humans get too self-centered into some type of ego and come up with mind frames and frameworks and actually start to live these things out like it's true. And then that's where idol worship ultimately came from too. So y'all slowly but surely get detached from nature, and then things that you're supposed to do with the mind, you forget the how, and then you just start clinging on to what's, and what's is like knowledge ledges, and fall off into another abyss and another ledge and another ledge. So it's about just knowing what you're involved in, and knowing that you're here to spiritually expand, not contract yourself, because everything play out in reverse. A contraption play out sometimes as like physical needs and wants. You know what I'm saying? But think about spiritually, when you in your mind, the things you had to do to get it, whatever the case. And that hurts you more later on down the line than the actual thing that got you in that comfort zone at that current state. You know what I'm saying? That monetary gain or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And we see a lot of old hags that got that kind of energy, or a lot of people who work their whole young life, middle-aged life working, thinking that retirement or that thing was what they were supposed to do, and then start feeling like that ain't even worth it, and they wasted their life and stuff like that. And these are small increments of being on the wrong path spiritually and using your mind and body the wrong way, using your mind the wrong way and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes into the new moon in Aquarius, it's going to teach us that, because if you have negative intent, but these things been working positive for you, you may not look at them like it's negative intent, but you may also not be able to access them. So you're going to go through that limbo stage, that writer's block, that creative block, because the things you're taking your creativity to do is going through a distance and a detachment, and you really ain't supposed to be doing it anyway. So for the most part, if you don't see it in that light, These are just damaged individuals anyway. You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all may have a lot of these people in y'all family, friends, associates, co-workers, somebody y'all just strangers that just came across online and just lost out of their minds. And then they're also using access to try to stop you as a stranger, however, whatever the case may be, right? But you're going to actually see how the universe works, how just like clouds work, where a person could sit there in some science class all day and tell you, well, this cloud, this water particle implode in this one and then it implodes in this one, or whatever the case may be, still can't tell you what it is. You know what I'm saying? That goes for everything. Y'all just get normalized in your mind and don't realize that. You know what I'm saying? Just because we called something water, that's just after we're already familiar with it. Y'all still don't know what it is. So y'all don't know what a cloud is. Y'all don't know what the sun is. Y'all don't know what water is. Y'all don't know what fire is. All y'all know is the terms we call something that condense, and all of these things got all versions in them. Water got fire, water, air, and earth. If you want to talk about spark or transition, or one, that'd be fire. Condensing, accumulation, fluid, that'd be water. Export, transport, less dense or scattered out, that'd be air or whatever, and it formating, distant or dusty or coming into mass, volume, velocity or whatever, that's earth or whatever. We see that play out in everything, right? You can have a bucket of water and it will wait. You know what I'm saying? You can have some fire and you can feel it. You can have some wind, some air, you can feel it. You can have some earth and you can build on it or whatever the case may be. Y'all still don't know what these things is. And then y'all get caught in separation of it. Fire, water, air, earth. Not understanding it's a transition. Fire, accumulation, then water, transportation, then air, condensing, then earth. That's a transition. So when you start your starting basis on separation, that's Satan science. Not saying Satan is science or science is Satan. I'm saying you're lost in separation, and any type of train of thought and line of reasoning that come from that is going to go down that path, which is the wrong path. If you're going to start any curriculum, you have to start the curriculum on it being a transition from one or the other, or these things will be worlds of themselves, a fire world, water world, or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, we're seeing a collapsing all the way to the point that it rain and it snows. These are collapsing energies. You see what I'm saying? So fall and winter is an overall thing on its own by itself, a collapsing of spring and summer being something by itself. So we're seeing light collapse, fall and winter, spring and summer expansion, spring and summer expansion, fall and winter condensing, collapsing. And we see it on micro perspectives in our own life and from AM to PM. You know what I'm saying? Or the evening time. So we see in the first half of the day, 6 a.m. to the next half of the day, 6 p.m. And that's where and then you get the Aries 6 a.m. or the beginning of the micro version. And then you get fall micro version, 6 p.m. evening of the day. So for the most part, it's basically just telling you this is where we're getting these traits from in general. But it's a happening. So when you're looking at them as separate, oh, fires is just this, water is just that, air is just that, earth is just that. You miss the praise for each of these things, and you miss the order of it being a transition. So then you would get the wrong idea, or then you would think someone just honoring earth things and trees. Then this person is honoring the wind gods, and this person honoring the fire god and the sky god and the water gods and the snake serpents out of it and stuff like that. Where really it's a story. If you out of order, you will miss the transition of how things come to be. Whereas light condensing to be cloud, water condensing to become air scattered out, condensing to become sperma seed, and all the things that we see as far as the bushes and the trees. So that's how it's being emanated, and that's how your mind works also. So when you're on that train of thought and that line of reasoning, now you're on the right path. So you're starting to see how your situations come to be, how you had an idea about something, fire. You had multiple ideas that represent that spiritual space. Once you created that first one, it condensed and became a cloud you was in, an emotion. You wanted to communicate it. You wanted to see how far it go, the distance of it. You coming up with distant thoughts to try to see if it could condense and it could become actual adrenaline. Now you're in that dream physically, or you're actually experiencing that physically, that thing you want to do. And then that's the process from the mind condensing to become physical as volume, velocity, and mass, the adrenaline. or whatever the case. And when you know that, now you'll know when you out of order. When you lost, your spirit is lost. You're already in some type of what your mind should be doing, not how your mind works. And now you're using your what mind with your physical body to do manipulating things. You know what I'm saying? To do things that represent alternative motives or however the case may be. So that what you're doing and what I just explained ain't something new. You just never heard it that way. Yet I didn't create it, you didn't create it. So you living out of order and someone having to prove it to you just because I can explain it good shouldn't be your main factor of what you believe in life. You should be in your own life trying to figure out these things for yourself, and maybe you'll come up with another curriculum that lead to a same objective point of view that everybody could come to with their own subjective path of how they got there, or whatever the case may be, that ultimately will lead to each one teach one anyway. But at the same time, when a person is not in that perspective, they're out of order anyway, and they're going to come up with justifications in their mind that they need some other human or some that they already created in their mind. There ain't no other way outside of a human to know anything. Yet everything that they know from another human went outside of themselves to know everything. But the frame of thought you're in to think that you're going outside of yourself to know something is where you lack. You see what I'm saying? And then we get into all this weirdo concepts about stuff, right? If I go outside of human to understand, if I started a situation and it would end, or if I spark a situation and I could give it life, I could go beyond a human to understand that by understanding nature, by understanding the seasonal transitions and things of that nature, and spring, summer, fall, and winter, or however the case may be. So if those things was here before I was here, yet I'm able to see how I'm a piece of that and it's playing out in my version of how it's playing out in life, or whatever the case may be, then I know that's the what. But the thing I need to be tracking is the how. And how I think is taken through all solutions. The what could take you into a situation where you don't have a know-how and you just caught in a whole bunch of whats and stuff like that. You don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what happened. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what's wrong with you or whatever. You don't know what you're doing, or however the case may be. You lack know-how. See what I'm saying? Or the how. And you always have to understand that it's because of the mind before what you're doing physically. You see what I'm saying? It ain't what you doing. It ain't what you think. It's how you think. It's how you do it. And if you always understand that, you always going to know when you go fully in that world, you can't take no dirtiness in that world anyway. And you're going to see that's where all the ideas is at that'll make negative, dirty cloths on your spirit work. So that's like you a slide in this world I'm talking about, and then start thinking about how you can use it for manipulation or getting over, and you will start to see how it don't work. For you to even be in that world, to know better ways to go about things, mean you know better, you do better, and you don't do that. And you will start to see what you're dealing with when it comes to more broader things and things that's in existence, if you don't believe in that word spirit or whatever the case may be, and know what you actually dealing with. And a lot of times people don't understand that aspect because they only understand the happenings of what was told through words, yet there's trillions of things going on each second that's a happening that we still ain't got words for, and the things we got words for still ain't what it is. You know what I'm saying? Y'all still think water is wet, not understanding we're creating words for experiences. So whatever we call water, when we see it on an object that we didn't call water, we gave that concept a name. That object that's not water, that got water on it, is wet. You know what I'm saying? But the moment you got arguments out here about it, water being wet, either it can only be two routes. That's confusion on purpose, or people just dumb and trying to find ways of being dumb. It's almost like kind of like how Neil deGrasse talk about the universe. They still talk about the universe as if the universe is a thing and the universe can give birth to something. It's an adjective. So why would someone get online and crash out that long? You know what I'm saying? Where that knowledge is unuseful. So every kind of scholarship that we're making importance on it, we have to second question it in this new time. We have to be like, how is that important? Why is this person rich off that? If they sat up here and talked about the universe like a noun, like the universe is taking actions, and if the universe ends, will the universe start again? Where the universe is an adjective, it's describing all the nouns within it. Trees grow, within it, there's multiple things that if we put it all in one word, that's what we called it, the universe. So there's a lot of things happening. Volcanoes, people being born, trees, bushes, all air, clouds, the sun, all of that as a whole is the adjective term we're calling the universe. So there is no such thing as the universe giving birth to anything. The universe having an age. There is no such thing as that. There is no such thing as the universe dying. That the universe is nothing. It's a term to describe everything. Just like a house. You got a table in a house. You got a refrigerator in a house. You got couches in a house, or whatever the case may be. Now, will the house die, or whatever the case? That don't even make no sense. What we're gonna describe is, did the people move, or did some new people move in, or did the people got some furniture or not, or whatever the case may be. Other than that, it'll just be an abandoned home. It ain't got nothing. So just like the universe, whatever would die, it'll just be an abandoned universe. It's just an adjective term. It doesn't make any sense to make it seem like it could give birth and it could die. You see what I'm saying? So we're still talking from that aspect that we're behind. And if we're still giving people millions of dollars from that, we're behind. And we're not coming up with no new, because I'll be the only person getting a new Nobel Peace Prize and stuff, but if we're not coming up with no new ways of this thing, it makes physics look like it's not even a thing. It'll make it look like physics is a psyop or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, where it's just made to cause confusion. It's not made to actually create no cure or actually understand anything. You see what I'm saying? Or we wouldn't be using adjectives through the lens of speaking about it like it's a noun and it's taking actions. That has to be considered. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was a kid growing up online. So if I got enough comprehension and common sense to understand these type of things, we're going to have to pick something as a humanity. Well, I ain't human, but y'all going to have to pick something as a humanity. What do y'all want to do? Y'all want to make money off lies and narratives, or do y'all want to just be some new creative thing? And even if we're wrong about something, it gets everybody interested in it because we're all want to be involved in something just new, or people who just creative and genuine. You know what I'm saying? But you got to pick one. You know what I'm saying? Or things is going to crash, especially when it comes to like AI and stuff like that. These institutions and these college kids absolutely crashed out with AI. Could have been, you know what I'm saying, based upon the success and the business endeavors. But whoever the AI teams that made it make sense to release it to these college kids first and these institutions, for them to do a whole bunch of dumb CIA type stuff with it, is what made it got stains on it. Now you got people, parents, I'm a parent, people, children, grandparents and stuff like that, not even wanting to be invested in any of that actually can be creative. You know what I'm saying? And I could see where it could go at when I separated from that type of stuff, where it could be. But then I could see all the stain that come from it now, and the light bulb that's going to pop on people's heads who's trying to get money and stuff like that. There's more people like that in the world. And I'm from the hood. People will take anything and try to get money off of it and stuff like that, like make up stuff, anything and stuff, just to attach themselves to other people and their family, to anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So it could be a person just come out of nowhere and start saying that they was watching a snowboarding video this whole time. They didn't know it was AI, and they went snowboarding and scraped their knee. And about 1,000 of these type of people trying to sue now. So it's like that type of stuff have to be changed a little bit, how stuff is done. And maybe these people that's investing themselves into AI and the business and stuff like that will see it being more profitable. But as long as y'all keep allowing it to be free in the hands of these college students and institutions, y'all just gonna keep getting a bunch of videos like mine and other people and stuff saying that these is the very same tools being used for psyops and stuff like that no one want to be a part of, and everybody adults trying to get they 1-2 together and take care of their responsibilities. So y'all got to deal with that behind closed doors, or whatever the case may be, if you want AI to survive in the business endeavor without things that's really unnecessary that don't even have to be attached to it. So y'all could have a free fall and free go forward and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, you're about to have a whole bunch of people mad about other things, and AI about to be one of the first things that they find to get over their animosity, or whatever the case may be. That a lot of these things probably ain't even got nothing to do with AI. You know what I'm saying? But is this a person gonna find that as a leeway? So to get it out of all that spectrum of stuff, kind of chill out, put it back into business terms or whatever like that, because we see the creativity and where it could go or whatever the case may be. But you just can't have a lot of people being affected and popular content creators where they're getting affected in other areas, and it just so happens AI is attached to it because of the people who's using it in these institutions and these colleges to do things like troll and stuff online that totally disregard the quality AI can have on its own without retards using it and stuff like that for other purposes that put a stain on it. So that also has to be justified too, because there's a lot of money that have been put in AI from big investors that have completely nothing to do with these institutions and these colleges and stuff like that, and really just want to look at the optics of these things. But if the optics is going to be these pages like TikTok and YouTube and pages like mine and stuff and other people's pages, and the only description you getting of these things is dumb retarded people using it against us for no reason and stuff like that, that becomes a problem when it comes to business. And when it comes to damage control, trying to say it's another reason why it's failing, but it's really no other reason why it's failing but how it was used. Keyword, how. So what becomes in this area, it could be good, but the how is what's making it have a stain on it and stuff like that. So that's just for even people in tech. Be careful who you are allowing to use these things, because they could be crashing out your future goals for it or whatever the case may be. Then you got to come up with another reason or another recoup plan, or you got to come up with another reason why you can't fully go for it, all because somebody used whatever AI platform you was getting ready to use to create a bunch of problems with people's families and personal lives online for jokes. You see what I'm saying? There's no money in that. You know what I'm saying? So that's y'all got to be aware of these things before investing into certain investments and stuff like that, going through these times where we just have a bunch of people. And that's what made me even like what Saha the Prince said. Saha the Prince said something, because taking it off of that, going into the music, this is why music trash right now. And it's not all college kids, but it's more of the college kids that's invested into these type of things of that nature, right? You got college dropouts and college kids that birthed that Kanye West kind of energy, where no one from the hood or the suburbs really get down with that. You needed the platform and industry for that. We online right now. You're not about to get away with that if you're an up and coming artist, or if you're in the industry, or whatever the case may be. These J. Cole virtual signaling raps and stuff like that. That's where you're trying to play on people's emotions. I don't know what y'all doing or whatever the case may be, but that's the old world. That's the old world. So even when you get these same type of people, these is the same type of people who think that they about to make music now. They think they about to be clothes designers now. But y'all don't realize y'all don't got the energy. You can make the most creative clothes piece. You can make the most creative art, the most creative music in the world. You as a spirit is trash. You're going to create some distance from the 80% of the people in the world messing with y'all like that. And God already going to show y'all that. Because let's say you are one of these type of individuals and you're in this type of negative spectrum. The people you connected with don't even support you like that. You probably could look at your social media. If you would have just did things in a genuine way, you'll be okay. But a lot of y'all trying to do music now, y'all flooding these things, clothing and stuff like that, and you and y'all little college posse or whatever the case may be is the only people liking y'all stuff or whatever. Like, and y'all got to work as a team to do that with strangers. And then that dry up. Y'all don't even be really supportive of each other like that. And so y'all be in a limbo. Y'all family don't really support y'all like that, and y'all cult members don't support y'all like that. So y'all out here just putting yourselves in a position of having a bad face card where you're a nobody. Not no positive way, unless you try to justify it, but it doesn't pass the fact that it's like y'all trying to create some new type of, I'm like a rapper, I'm like a producer. That's kind of like them terrible beats. I hate to even mention people, but this dude had to go to college. What's his name? Damn, what's his name? Not Mike Well Made It. I think he went to college too. The dude that be making all future beats. I forgot his name. He was the dude beefing with Drake first. Metro Boomin. Them beats he made for French Montana and Max B was terrible. It's almost like he was in a nostalgia. Oh, I made a beat like Heatmakers. He didn't get into making a beat. You know what I'm saying? So this how y'all sound as producers, as rappers, when y'all like college dropouts or something like that. Y'all not involved in anything. So it look weird. And shout out to DJ Academics. But kind of like how he talk about hip hop. He not hip hop. You know what I'm saying? That's not hip hop. That's someone who talk about it. You know what I'm saying? But it's not hip hop itself. So you got to understand the difference. But people in the hood, they understand, or whatever the case may be. But it's a large percentage scale of people online that don't get it. And these is the first people who become trolls, haters, what they call that destiny swappers, which that don't even exist. Like I never heard of someone trying to destiny swap someone, but didn't come up with some idea of how they could come out their mother's butt though. If you ain't come out that person's father nuts or mother's butt, what is you? It's like imaginary. It's idol worship, where you'll make up something in your mind. Oh, like even eyeball, no matter what it is, what sign and symbol it is, right? Cross or whatever. And these would be the first people saying other people are pseudo. But then when you ask them, what do you think you actually doing? They'll make up some mind shit, some mind stuff. They'll make up something in their mind. Oh, it mean this, it mean that. How ain't that pseudo then? That ain't got nothing to do with nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's like me sitting here saying, oh, the sun is an eyeball because it's like an eye, right? So it'll be me. If I'm somewhere really believing I'm like the sun and I'm like one eyeball, I'm out my mind. Whatever that thought form I'm in and whatever it led me to do, I'm a demon at that point. I'm someone off my own emotion, and I created my own idea about whatever emotion I'm in, that no deer see the sun that way, no other human see the sun that way, nothing, right? It's my own emotion I'm justifying to just create some weird fantasy in my mind, and hopefully other people believe it the way I believe it, and that's my mission that I'm only that only could go from there. I have to start making other people believe that for any of my manipulation tricks to work. Other than that, the sun is the sun, the water is the water. You know what I'm saying? The clouds is the clouds. These things play out in a transition and a mechanism. Nobody's stupid, retarded nose, lungs, 2 eyes, eardrums to get lost like no other squirrel got lost. You know what I'm saying? But these are the things people do to suit the flesh. These are the things people do to come up with justifications in their mind about whatever they're doing. But that's the very nature of being a demon, if we want to call it that. You're taking your own emotion and you're trying to, that never helps everybody else. That can only serve you, self-serving, and whoever thinks just like you. And that can only always be small in a percentage scale. That can never be the larger aspect of anything. Because even if you want to convince all humans or whatever like that, what about the animals? What about the bugs? What about the atmosphere, or whatever the case may be? So it's just a person creating loneliness. That's loneliness. You know what I'm saying? So the more loneliness you create in the spirit world, the more attachments you have to create physically. But you're only going to be attaching to people, places, and things you always feel detached from. You always feel unfulfilled from. And this is how y'all deal with y'all relationships. This is how y'all deal with y'all packs, y'all groups, y'all oaths, y'all circumstances, y'all gangs, everything. Y'all always sleeping with the enemy, but it only works when y'all all trying to do something to other people. That don't got nothing to do with y'all. You know what I'm saying? That's the only time it worked. So y'all have to find where y'all damaged that. Find where y'all damaged that as humans. Like, find that and transmute that. And this would be the time to do it, because you guys won't be lacking forms of creative blockages, writer's block. If you make a podcast, there will be those pockets where it ain't nothing to talk about. You will find something to talk about because you will have this how instead of the what. And you will be a person who will make an old topic refreshing, or whatever the case may be. So you can still get your check in the algorithm, or however. You know what I'm saying? I'm just telling y'all what spiritual temperament to be in, so you can start developing your right mind tool. Don't sweat the technique. That manifests and you got the right adrenaline. So you ain't in no little funky space, or you don't feel unmotivated, or you don't feel uncharged, or you don't feel like something ain't worth it, or whatever the case may be, or have to double eye or look side eye at the thing you was doing that it felt comfortable and all feeling good last week, but this week it feel weird. It feel like maybe you should chill out. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? All those energies of showing you your spirit have been separate, and you have let so much energy and other fulfillments that came from other people, places, and things in your spiritual pocket that block you from you and it. That thing, that pocket, that space you like to be in to develop all that gold that you can make all your originality at. You know what I'm saying? So even if you're making something new, it still got that originality quality from it. And even if you make music, this is how you always reach that space where you could still make a classic. It don't have to dry out after that one time, or a lot of y'all could reach that third album, then the fourth album. No, you could stay there. You know how to get back there, create another version by being in that same city location, but just build another house there because that old house may not work. Not just be straight distant from there and then figure out what you're doing and it's not working no more because you're not in that spiritual location anymore. That's what it means. And then you might try to do the same thing, go back to that old spiritual house. It might be abandoned now. You have to learn how to make a new house in that spiritual spot, your spiritual sweet spot. Y'all just be so separate from y'all God and y'all individual personal God, you get led on by other spirits, and that's the actual experience you're having when you're experiencing what I'm talking about. And then you can't get back into them sweet spots. And then now it's leading on to having more on a percentage scale throughout your days and weeks and months and years of now you have more writer's block than you had positive times, more creative block than you have flourishing times and stuff like that. Now something is unwound on the balancing scale because of how you're living your life, because you forgot it's not the what, it's the how you think. And I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Not all y'all, not y'all trolls, bro. Y'all people that my family, friends, and associates, and people that actually watch, and strangers that actually watch to learn. I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Flight boss, bitch, you know. For sure. You're not listening to the Mind of an Terry Smooth. I'm the Royal Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out duties and responsibilities. Rector Swahil, hold that yellow who? Massasoit, Mabana Toit. Woo! Masasaki. Oh yeah, and Aries through Pisces too.